Welcome to the Identifying Saying Processes presentation. In this presentation, you are going to learn what saying processes are, how to identify them, and you will practice using them in your writing. Make sure you have your student workbook open to page 15, as you will need to complete the activities as you progress through this presentation. As you may have already guessed, saying processes are verbs that tell us someone is speaking. They can also tell us the manner in which someone is speaking. If you look at the example here, "I'm really sorry," sobbed Tony. The word sobbed gives us more information about how Tony said the words "I'm really sorry." This becomes really important when writing in narratives, as it provides insight into the characters and gives the story a sense of realism. So by completing this presentation, you will begin to understand how you can use different saying processes rather than simply using the word said all of the time when writing dialogue. It is important to note here that the above example contains two clauses, one inside the direct speech and one after the direct speech. We are just focusing on the information outside of the direct speech for these activities. As you can see, saying verbs are used around dialogue or when there is interaction. That makes them quite easy to identify. To find a saying process, all you need to do is identify the speaker and ask, what did the speaker do? So if we look back to our example, again about Tony, we know that it is Tony who is speaking, and we can ask, what did Tony do? He sobbed. We are now moving on to task 1, identifying saying verbs. We are going to work through the first two examples together, and then you are going to identify some saying verbs on your own. Make sure you are filling out your answers on page 15 as we do this together now. Okay, number 1. What is this place? Liz inquired. So first we need to ask, who spoke? Right, I'm sure you all worked it out. It was Liz who spoke. And what did she do? She inquired. So the saying process is inquired. You might see here that the saying process is always outside of the direct speech. That's a hint to help you to find them. Let's look at number 2. It's a state-of-the-art light ship. It is a state-of-the-art light ship. The alien life form responded in perfect English. Now in this example, the part after the direct speech is quite long. But if we simply use the questions, we will be able to identify the saying process quite easily. So who spoke in this example? The alien life form. And what did the alien life form do? Responded. Now be careful. In this example, some people might feel inclined to say responded in perfect English as what the alien did. Now the imperfect English part is actually telling us more information about how he responded. It's not actually part of the saying process. So we simply ask, what did the alien life form do? Responded. We could get rid of that last part, in perfect English, and it would still make sense. And that's how we know it's an adverbial phrase added on the end to give us more information. Okay, so the saying process is responded. You are now going to do the next 3 on your own. Remember to ask yourself, who is speaking and what did they do, to help you find the saying process. You will probably need to pause this presentation in order to give yourself enough time to complete these activities. Simply press play when you are finished. Okay, you're all done. Let's have a look at the answers. So number 3, Liz replied, "Why have you brought me here?" Now in this example, we have the person talking at the beginning of the sentence. So the person who spoke was Liz. And what did Liz do when she spoke? She replied. Number 4, to experiment on you, of course, the life form snickered evilly. What did the life form do? It snickered. And remember, the evilly part is an adverb. It's giving us more information about the verb, the saying verb, or the saying process. So we do not include it. We could take it out and it would still make sense. Number 5, get her ready, another voice said in a commanding tone. Now, let's have a look. Who spoke? Well, it was another voice. And what did they do? Said. And as we have seen in the other examples, the inner commanding tone part is giving us more information about how they said it. So it is also an adverbial phrase. So that's not part of the saying process. How did you go with that? Hopefully you did very well. And if you struggled a little bit, just make sure you keep practicing trying to find these when you're reading or looking at a text. So task 2. We're now going to move on to using saying processes. You have 2 tasks to do as part of this. First, you need to write 12 interesting saying verbs that you might like to use in your writing. They can be any different type of saying verb, but let's avoid the really basic ones like replied or said or asked. We want some really interesting ones that tell us more about how the person is saying what they're saying, or it reveals more about their character. Write those in the spaces provided on page 15. Once you are done, there are 3 examples there where I have crossed out the word said, and you need to pick a different word to replace it, a saying process that will give us more information and provide more insight into the character and what is going on in the story. Once you have finished those activities, you have completed your homework